Vance, Elrod, welcome to Oceanside, California. Welcome to the Detox Dudes studio. So we just finished quite a journey. Was it 6 months of coaching?
I think we're only 4 months in.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. 4 months of coaching. It feels like a long time. And Spirit of a Man retreat. And you already talked about Spirit of a Man experience, and maybe we'll touch on that today. But I wanted to get a chance to interview you for a sort of case study for your detox experience.
Yeah.
So first of all, everyone who's watching this, Vance is a professional MMA fighter. He also runs a massive company called Mercury, which sells methylene blue and the best black seed oil I've ever had, and really cool clothes that you're going to send to me, right?
Yeah. On the way, right?
Okay. And Vance is one of my favorite clients to work with in the last 10 years. Super insanely positive spirit. Even though he's been in deep, deep darkness, he's always maintained that positive spirit and that the knowledge deep inside of himself that he's going to get through it. And that's an intangible. You can't teach that. But Vance has it, and it's contagious. And he had a crazy, crazy journey. I'm going to let him tell you the journey. But long story short, and you'll do the long story, I'll do the short story. You were deep in hell, panic attacks, anxiety, depression, unable to cope, somehow still running your business of 40 employees. I don't know how you did that. And all the while training and trying to still fight professionally. And you went through a journey where you started searching for different holistic modalities. You tried a bunch of shit, and somehow ChatGPT shared with you that Detox Dude, this guy Josh, has been through a journey. You might have mercury poisoning. Check this guy out.
Yep. And
we signed up for coaching, and I'm going to let him tell his story. We signed up for coaching, and you've had a massive transformation already. It's only 4 months in. The next 2 years are going to be a whole different story, right? Because detox is a marathon, but you've already made strides in 4 months. So fill in the holes of everything I missed there.
I think the beautiful thing is what you said is we're only 4 months in. I prepped for 3 years, ready for that journey. Same thing as my business. I prepped for 10 years, and everything came quick, and it was beautiful. So it's not something you have to look at like it's this huge marathon, and when you're done, it's done. It gets so much better along the way, and that was the best part about it. But yeah, I think even before that, I was sicker than I've ever even known. I think finally I tipped over. So at 17, I got my first Crohn's attack, and I battled that for about 7 years, put it into remission naturally, but I would get these pains in my stomach for like 8 hours a night, and the only thing I could do was meditate. Painkillers didn't work. Nothing worked except for throwing up and then getting actual heat on my stomach. And then later I figured out antihistamines worked, which was a little key that started to like fit the full big picture of what was going on. At 19, I developed OCD. And so you could give me a letter like, I'll just say Q, it's the 17th letter of the alphabet, because I'm constantly counting and doing things like that. And I had a weird tick of like OCD going on. So I got really like fascinated with numbers, and I noticed that I thought it was, okay, I'm a little bit broken, but I didn't realize like how bad it was. Even when I was a kid, I hit puberty super late. I had a lazy eye. I had just shaky hands always. I've always had high blood pressure. I've always had weird things about me. And I never would have equated that to like a toxic burden or toxic load. Before I even met you, if you would have said detox, I would say woo woo.
Yeah.
And I've been and I've been studying, let's say, probably for the last 9 years, like biochemistry, nutrition, everything that I could do, because I was in such a pain of not being the best professional athlete I want to be. So I was studying nutrition, supplements, whatever I could do to modulate a biochemical pathway to increase my performance, to increase my cognition, to increase everything in my life. And even then, I wouldn't have looked at toxins. I just thought it was something that everyone's got toxins, you get rid of them, I'm too healthy. And then I crashed one day, just like your story within...
What year was it?
Last year, okay. June. Okay. I woke up and I had anxiety. Never had anxiety in my life. I fight in a cage. I run $1 million a month business, never had anxiety in my life. Even when shit hits the fan, you touched on it. I do a good job mentally being like, having that fortitude. And so to have an internal anxiety feeling, immediately I knew this wasn't like a mental thing or an environmental thing. It was environmental, but I knew it was like a chemical thing, like something was going on inside of me. And I think this is also why I was so attracted to health. It's because something was wrong, and I would take things that would feel so much better, like methylene blue. Methylene blue literally saved me out of hell when I was just deep in it, and fixed so many things that my cognition improved forever, like my energy systems improved. And it made me feel like a normal human, I thought. And then so when I crashed again, it was just like, just something deep in me knew it wasn't, you didn't just catch anxiety and depression and fatigue and tunnel vision. It was something was going on inside. And then lo and behold, I went through a long, long journey of trying to find answers. And I went and put that OCD to work and that pain to work. And so there were nights I'd stay up till 3 a.m. just studying. Went down methylation pathways. I went down sulfur intolerance pathways. I went through genetic SNP pathways, CBS upregulation, just everything, MTHFR you can imagine.
And during this time of this experimentation and research, are you suffering every day?
Every single day. I would get...
What is it like? What are your days like?
So,
what are your days like?
Yeah. Let's say I started with a good day, because sometimes I would get a day or two where I felt normal. And it was like the lights came back on. And I was like, okay, I'm better. And then the first thing that would happen, a lot of people have asked me, is my voice would go. I would just be sitting there, my voice would go, and it'd get real raspy. My voice changed from this forever. It's pretty weird. And then tunnel vision would set in, tinnitus would blare, and then it was just like, you remember Harry Potter with the Dementors? Yeah. It was like that. Yeah. I would just doom, gloom, my mind worked against me. And I had to find that like little voice like in my spine almost is where I feel it, where my mind was screaming at me and ruminating, telling me everything was done, life was over, every bad scenario in my head would play out, and I could not have a good feeling. Even if I thought of something positive or got good news, I couldn't feel a good feeling. It was so weird. And that little voice in me was just like keep going. Like, this is not normal. You're going to get through this. And the light from the tunnel like was gone. And it would be 3-4 days of that intense, but it felt toxic too. And so eventually I did have to take some Xanax, which I think I took it 10 times total, and every time I blew it out of proportion. Looking back, I was like, Vance, you should have just taken some Xanax. Yeah. But I would be 3 days in hell and I just couldn't sleep, and like just everything I told you, but times 11. And my hair actually started falling out, and I mean, I just had cloudy urine, just so many weird things would happen. And then I would take a little bit of a Xanax, and when the anxiety and that voice calmed down, I'd feel toxic. And I knew it was wrong. It was almost like I felt hungover, like my face was warm, my neck felt stuck. It's hard to explain unless you go through it.
It's like a dirty internal feeling, right? Something is not right internally.
Exactly. You know what's wild too, and just side note, but when you're out of the pain and the suffering, it's hard to even remember how bad it was. Because now I'm just like, we're feeling great.
Yeah, I can never talk about my pain in the same way that I did in 2016 when I spoke in London. Yeah. For that talk that you watched, I can never talk. I literally am not capable of remembering what the feelings are like.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I can explain them, but I don't know how to feel them anymore.
Exactly, yeah. It's like a fight camp, same thing. Yeah. When I go through fight camp, I'm suffering, but afterwards I just remember maybe a little bit I was hungry. And
it's like having a baby. Women do it again, even though it's the most agonizing thing. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and then I went through like I said before, I went through every single pathway possible. And one day I was using ChatGPT to actually give me anecdotes of people who went through what I went through and got better, because at that time I was convinced it was just a sulfur intolerance. Mm-hmm. And ChatGPT for 2 weeks lied to me, gave me fake anecdotes of people who got better. And then one time I woke up in the morning and it was the start of one. My face was hot, tunnel vision, ears screaming, panic starting, heart's going, I can't breathe out of my nose, just full sympathetic nervous system's firing. And it's that same fight or flight feeling that I had before a fight. Insane. And I asked it a question of give me an anecdote, and it gave me one that was too specific to my scenario. And I asked it, I said, is this a real person or are you giving me fake ones? And told me it was giving me fake ones. And that's when I grilled ChatGPT for 2 hours after a full breakdown where I was like, I'm done forever. I thought that was it. And it actually then told me about Amy Haskow, who's kind of a genetic SNPs doctor, who had 4 out of 5 patients who had sulfur intolerance, but the real reason was mercury poisoning. And that's what kind of opened the door. So from there, I started to discover that through childbirth, my mom having 9 amalgam fillings by the time I was born, through the enormous amount of fish I've ate my whole life, through my own metal fillings, through vaccinations, other things that we shouldn't even talk about actually, that you can get a chronic heavy metal burden that will not leave. And it can take 4 generations to breed out of you on top of that. And so I decided I was going to chelate, and it was the worst experience of my life. And so I was getting ready to chelate my 4th round after my 3rd round. I went into the worst 4 days of my life. I walked 20 miles a day because my brain was on fire. And through that time, it was just, I can't explain it. Like I said, like a dementor over me. Yeah. And it was literally the closest thing I've ever been to hell. And if there is hell, I assume it's exactly like that. Mm-hmm. Worst day of my life. And I asked ChatGPT to give me more people who overcame mercury exposure. And it gave me this jiu-jitsu world champion. Yeah. And he overcame it, and he had panic just like you, and he had anxiety and depression and couldn't function. It took him 4 years, and he finally got rid of the mercury and all the other toxins, and he felt better. And I said, Chat, you're lying. You're lying to me, you know? I was like, no, it's Josh Mast. And I said, bullshit. And I Googled you, found your story, and I shed a huge tear because it was like that hope you gave me. And it just, because every other story, there were people who had anxiety I read about and got better, and it felt good. But when you're in that much panic and pain, you never think you're going to get better. I thought for sure I was done. I thought literally, without a doubt, my life was over. I was going to die.
And ChatGPT knew you were close to dying too.
Yes, exactly.
Like, let's give him a real one.
Yeah, exactly. And they sent me you, and I called your team. I got on the phone with everyone who was... It's hard to explain it, and because I talked with a lot of other practitioners who are famous, and I talked with mineral balancers and everyone else, and they know the science. But what you did is you guys knew the art of detox, and it's like a fight. I could tell you the science behind everything, but until you get in there and do it, there's an art. Yeah. It's a martial art, and so I related heavily with that. And I thought, worst comes worst, I'm going to reduce my toxic burden. In 8 months, I don't feel better. I can go back to just regular chelation. And boy, did I make the right choice. And so got with your team. You actually took the time to call me because you heard my story, got on the phone with me, which meant the world. And then you took me under your wing. We decided to do coaching, and the rest is history. I'm here now. I'm a full believer.
Yeah. And how do you feel now versus 5 months ago?
We're only 4 months in, and my base is back, and I get glimpses of feeling better than before I was sick.
Wow.
And that's what does it. It's the same thing with methylene blue, where I just started to feel better than before. My concussion, my face injury with that. And then with now, it's like the energy, the cognition, the clarity, especially after Spirit of a Man. Yeah. I did more this week on work than I've done in the past, like maybe 3 weeks or a month. You know, I went viral on Twitter 3 times. We went viral on Instagram. We brought in new business. We redid our whole entire marketing structure. Like, wow. We're making big changes because you gave me that clarity after Spirit of a Man that I did not have before.
Perspective, like eagle eye vision, coming out of fight or flight and more into expansive states, right? Where the little actions that you do move mountains versus just being in a grind every day. All day.
Yeah, it's we just watched Braveheart, but it's to have that intention, you know what I mean? It's like we're full on. So Spirit of Man helped, but without the detox, I couldn't do it. Yeah,
totally.
And just so many tools, and that's what blew my mind is I studied this every night, 6, 8, 10-hour days sometimes researching chelation. And the second we got together, you gave me a document of chelators and other modalities of therapies I've never even heard of. I've done so much research, and then I plug it in, find the research. Finally, I'm like, why is this not talked about? Yeah. You have like the mainstream, you have the undercuts, you have the underground stuff, you have everything that I've never even heard of, and every single one so far has just changed my body.
Wow. And the crazy thing is you haven't even dove deep with chelation. Actually, you haven't done any because see, guys, just so you can understand, like when people are that sick, when they're in panic, when they're in despair like that, chelation is not the right move. And that's what a lot of holistic doctors will tell you to you got to get rid of the metals. But the foundation is so corroded when you have toxicity. Your gut starts getting degraded, your mucous membrane, you're demineralized, right? You have pathogens, you have chronic inflammation. So chelation, your body can't even handle chelation. But the cool thing is you don't need chelation to feel better. Yep. You need chelation to go from good to great. But you don't need chelation to go from hell to okay, or hell to even good. And this is a huge misconception. And that's because the things that fuck you up the most are the extracellular toxins that are floating around the system, not the intracellular ones. They're kind of in safe spaces. Now, long term, you don't want intracellular metals because they destroy your biology. But that's not how you get out of hell. You've got to take care of like the low-hanging fruit, right? And so that's all we've done in the last 4 months. Things like mast cell stabilizers, gut healers. You've taken a bunch of minerals. Do you still take black seed oil? I take it every day now. Yeah. So I take yours every day.
I slowed down on methylene blue, but the black seed oil, methylene blue supercharged my ATP too much. Yeah. Forced detox.
Methylene blue in someone in your situation, even for me, I don't tolerate methylene blue orally. I'd use it in coffee enemas. I can't tolerate it orally. I don't know why.
Okay.
But some people do well on it. Some people don't. Yeah. But the main thing is that we just we balance your nervous system. We're healing your gut. We have you taking loads of binders. And you came out of hell. Yep. And not only came out of hell, like you're kind of good now.
I know, but
yeah, I mean, there'll still be more in the next 6 months, and you'll have dips and downs and everything. But you're definitely out of hell. Like I saw you at the retreat 5 days in a row, and you were sustained, clear presence and awareness, and like whatever dips you might have had, you just worked through them. You know. Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, what else have we done in the last 4 months? Like, what else was a game changer?
The binders for sure. The mast cell stabilization was the first thing to put me back on my body.
Right.
And that's where I was hinting at the histamine in the gut thing. I would accidentally took I accidentally took an Alka-Seltzer cold instead of an Alka-Seltzer when my stomach pain happened one night, and it went away. Then my dad got angioedema. It was so funny. His lips blew up. He looked like Kim Kardashian. I made fun of him when they switched his blood pressure medication, and we found out it was a histamine thing. It could be genetic, but he had a bad reaction. His histamine dumped to his face and he swelled up. And he did a little deep dive in it and found it can manifest in the gut if it's genetic. And so he goes, that's why the Alka-Seltzer cold worked. He goes, because the histamine, I said, no way. So we kind of figured that out. So I've had problems with histamine. Mercury will degranulate mast cells massively. All metals will actually. And so histamine is like your fire alarm, the smoke detector. So the first thing we do is we turn the smoke detector off, I feel like. And I'm not cool with like so many things of modulating your body. So I was real nervous, and everything you've given so far everything has such a good purpose and is safe and also has great efficacy. So I felt comfortable with everything so far.
We're not moving crazy dials on the body like TRT and like hormones and all these things that people take to try and heal, which honestly just masks the symptoms. But everything we're doing, like even the mast cell stabilizer, it's completely non-toxic, non-addictive, not like it's not harmful in any way. Right. And there's a lot of healing practices out there that are really turning important dials. And that's one thing that we don't do here. And I'm not a believer in turning those important dials. I think that you're missing the point if you have to turn a dial like that. If you have to do HGH injections, if you have to take TRT, I think that's the last resort, in my opinion. You know? So, okay. So 4 months ago, panicking every day, anxiety every day. I'm sure it was very difficult to run your company.
Oh yeah.
Did you just give it to everyone else, or how'd you handle that?
I'm really good at in pain locking in. So I told everyone, I said, if Meraki starts going down, we're going to snort a thermometer. So the cool thing is, for whatever reason, when life pulls me back, I catapult forward. So I did really good at just locking in. I made that like my life's mission, but it was not fun. It was not enjoyable. It was hard as could be.
Every day was painful.
Yeah, I prefer this so much more. Like I'm running out of my heart and like on a mission, not like thinking that I could pull myself out of like survival mode with my business.
Totally.
But yeah, no, I couldn't run it, but I had to stop training. Could not train. My body couldn't handle it. I could not fight. When this first happened, I've always outworked everything. I tried to outwork this. I remember the last day I realized it wasn't working was I watched Lone Survivor, the intro with the Navy SEALs. And I went to the track. I ran in 104 degree weather, 40 minutes straight bleachers. And I got record times. I when we were bleacher sprints. And by the end, I was so fried. And then I got in my ice bath my ice bath is at 31 degrees with a pump. So it's not like a 40 degree ice bath. And I did about 28 minutes straight. And I was like basically going in almost hyperthermic levels. And I got in the shower, and then I took a Xanax because I was like, all right, I can't outwork this.
It's not that. You can't outrun this.
And so I had to figure out what was going on. And it's like you're trying to find out where the smoke is, and you keep blowing the smoke out until you can find what that fire is. You can't do it. You got to identify the monster to kill it.
And that's why I feel like so many of the mental techniques and the work harder techniques and like all of the YouTube advice for a lot of men today, yes, it's good advice and like it's powerful, but there are so many things happening biologically that prevent you from that advice to even work, but also prevent like why would you want to do that? Why would you want to outwork something when there's something going on chemically inside, deeply corroding you? Like, don't you want to just address the root?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I find that like cleansing is a massively overlooked thing in culture today.
Yeah.
Like people think it's bullshit. People think your liver does that. People think it's a moneymaker. But we are literally being inundated with hundreds of thousands of compounds and metals and everything. I mean, just look at from the clothes people wear to the toothpaste, to the food they eat, to the water. And it bioaccumulates. And then you have 25 years in, or you were 28 at that time or something. I don't know, 29.
Yep.
And the body just collapses.
Yep.
That's what happened to me at 23.
Happened to everyone. Right. Happened to Dr. Pompa, happened to Tony Robbins. You will find the more I look, the more I realize how much more common it is. And that's what I want to know. Why is no one talking about this? Exactly.
And once you have that collapse, you cannot outwork it. There is no amount of meditation, running, cold plunges, saunas that's going to make that pain go away, because you have to, like, once the collapse happens, you have to start from ground zero.
Yeah.
And you have to rebuild.
Yep.
That's what I've observed in my thousands of clients at this point, that you simply cannot you cannot outrun or outwork once that collapse happens.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah, and that's what I did in the beginning. I don't know how to explain it, but I can put my mind through anything. I can go anywhere. I'm so confident in that. When I look you in the eye, I tell you that. I got my face shattered. And within less than a year later, I was stepping up to fight a pro fighter with 50 fights in a cage. And I'm in the back room. My body is shaking. I want to cry. And I can go. I can go. Yeah. And this experience I went through shattered my fucking mind. Shattered everything. I've never felt so hopeless in my life. You lose control. Yeah. It changed the way I look at everything.
It all means nothing. Money, love, relationships, family, it all means nothing. You're literally in your own personal torment and hell, and it's like you're desperate for that to end, or you have to kill yourself.
Yeah,
it's like that's where I was. It was like, if this doesn't end, I cannot make it much longer.
And it turns into that thought, and I won't get too deep, but like when you get to that level, like killing yourself feels like a warm shower while you're in an ice bath. You're like, I just want out of this. I understand that feeling, and I respect that feeling a lot more now because of that.
Yes.
And it's like you said, you cannot outwork something like that and change the way I looked at everything.
And how many guys do you think, like military guys, are probably loaded? I mean, I work with a bunch of them, but not that many. And I guarantee they're loaded with toxins.
Yes.
And they're loaded with heavy metals from their missions. And they come home and they get pharmaceutical drugs and they drink, and they a lot of them end up killing themselves. And there's a massive suicide rate. And we just hung out with a Navy SEAL yesterday. Yeah. He's in charge of helping those guys. But
same story as me and you too. He said,
same story. There's there is something going on the planet, and detox is. I'm not saying it's like a magic pill, or it's like it's the end all be all, because you got to do work in every arena. Like we saw at Spirit of a Man, you can see some of those guys had done a lot of cleansing, but they didn't take care of their emotions whatsoever. You got to do it all.
Yep.
Right. But I just wonder how the world would change if this was like a par for the course remedy for people who are experiencing severe illnesses, severe mental disturbances, severe PTSD and anxiety and panic. I think it would be humanity altering. You know,
I think for some reason I got pushed towards methylene blue. Like the circumstance where I found it was amazing, and I think that was one tool. And actually, when you think about it, detox, that makes sense. And I think if we took the world and we made hydration, sleep, good nutrition, and detox one of those pillars now, I think we'd see a reduction in birth disorders. I'm not going to say I think we'd see a reduction in mental health cases. I think we would see more happy, more grounded people, and the entire world, the entire environment would change and be better. And it would force us to do things that are a little bit harder but worth their weight in gold. Like we would have to maybe put a filter on our coal plants, China and India, so we don't get methyl mercury in the environment. We'd have to not monocrop our soil so that the cadmium, the lead, and the arsenic become unbound because there's no minerals in the soil. I mean, there's so many. It would be one of the most catastrophically good things that we could do for our environment if people became aware of this, and I think it will. I think everyone knows now 5G is not good for you. Plastic's not good for you. Microplastics are the tip of the iceberg.
Oh my God, they're nothing.
Exactly. Wait till you get into metals. Metals are demonic at risk, and you get into it. And the thing you said too with the military men, they vaporize lead nonstop all day. The problem is with metals that I've learned is it's not 1 + 1 = 2 in regards to symptoms, because each metal will hit your enzymatic functions differently. They all target different areas. So if 10 IU of mercury causes Mad Hatters, or 10 IU of lead causes hormonal issues, well, if you get 1 IU of each, and we're giving figurative numbers, but if you give them both right there and you only have 2 IU total of 2 different ones, you actually are going to probably have more symptoms than just 10 IU of one single one. And that's amazing that when you think about it. So we're coming out of the mercury and the lead generation, which is our parents. And now we're the cadmium and the aluminum generation. And it's being put in our environment so heavily. So now we're the culmination of 4. And when you look at it through that lens, just take a step back and look at it through there, and you start looking at like the mental health crisis, the thyroid crisis, the sleep deprivation crisis. Everyone's on pills for their heart, their thyroid, their sleep, their depression, their anxiety. And I think,
and then another one to try and focus during the day.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And it's like, wow, when you look at those are all symptoms of what? Usually toxins as well. And it starts to change the way you look at, like I said, everything.
And like if you would have gone to a psychiatrist 5 months ago, and you would have been super honest with everything that was going on with you, what diagnosis would you have gotten?
Bipolar, extreme panic,
Major depressive disorder.
Manic depressive disorder, yeah.
Right?
Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
But honestly.
Yeah, so you would have been put on like 3 to 5 different pharmaceutical drugs.
Yeah.
If you, like, imagine if you don't have an open mind, if you don't have the right knowledge, if you don't have that spirit inside that's like, I want to fucking heal and I want to actually heal. Like, I don't want this to just get rid of a symptom, which a lot of people think about. You could have been on a trajectory, and people watching this might be on that trajectory, where you're literally taking pharmaceutical drugs, you don't change your diet, and you literally are written off for the rest of your life. Like, you will be in a purgatory for the rest of your life and have no chance at being actually a sovereign free soul and experiencing this lifetime and or this earth the way it was meant to be experienced.
Yep.
Right? Like, you literally for the next 50 years, like, here's, okay, that's your path.
Exactly.
And like, that's the level, in my opinion, that's like, detox breaks you from the fucking matrix.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
100%. Like 100%. Yeah.
Detox sets you free from the limiting beliefs, all of the bullshit patterning, all of the, like, that whole world that, like, even my family is in and other people I know are in, of just being a slave and having no sovereignty. Like, detox literally decalcifies your pineal gland. It will wake you up from a nap and make you realize how much control you have of your own peace, of your own being.
Yep.
Have you experienced glimmers of this yet?
The sovereignty after, exactly. It's also very hopeful to be in that deep of a hole and to find an answer.
Right.
That's the other thing. So now it's like, I don't care what situation we're in now. And I think that's why it works in mysterious ways like this. But you can't break me because I know there's an answer out there. There's answers to questions you just haven't even asked yet. And once we get into that, and science always catches up to the anecdotes. It's anecdotes first, then science.
Yes.
There's so much science on this. We could look into it. Mad Hatters was a real thing. We could look into toxic-induced anything. But the problem is we don't have the extreme practice of that. We have, this is why I love old school Soviet pharmacopoeia, because they were based on longevity and performance. That's where peptides came from. Where American pharmacopoeia is meant on symptom management. So we just give you everything for symptoms and we call it a disease. Well, depression's not a disease. Depression's a symptom. Your fire alarm's going off. Can you figure out why?
Yes.
And you know how much work it takes? The testing isn't what you think. You can't test for metals. You can't test for most toxins because they're in your body bound. So you could biopsy yourself, or you could try a provocation test, which could be risky.
Right.
But there's no way to test for it either. So you really have to, like, have this inner, like you said, this inner spirit to go, I'm sick, I know it, I don't need validity, I don't need proof, I need to try something and see how I feel. Right. And that's where you do such a good job. You shut the numbers off, you go art of detox, and people get better. Everyone at Spirit of a Man I talked to, it was the best thing ever. I went, how'd you find Josh? And I went, oh, through detox. And I was like, dude, were you sick? Yeah. Do you feel better? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. I was like,
dude, it was crazy. Literally, like 11 out of 12 guys had gone through the whole detox protocol. I didn't know that, and they were all like, "Yeah, that should change my life." Like, yeah, that. I think it was it all of them, or was it
I
10 or 11?
All of them, yeah. And other ones tried other practitioners. I mean,
right.
For me, like you're my guy right now, and you did pull me out. But like when you're that bad, you want validity. I want proof. Like, who else walked this path and got through it? And to see everyone else there, I was like on that final nail in the coffin. I'm like, I will never ever argue with Josh. Shut up and listen to him.
Because the craziest thing is, I don't really understand science. Like, I've read it. I have sound bites inside of myself that I say.
Yeah.
And that's what people respect, and I get that.
Yeah.
But like, this journey of healing as an individual, your journey is an art. It's an art to your spirit, your consciousness, your individuality, your trauma, your mind, everything inside of you is so unique and so different. You have to learn how to, I'm a guide to teach you how to be your own artist, how to be your own healer. But that's the thing that's, I feel, is missing in these, in holistic health world. It's like, yes, I learned about this stuff because there's a lot of support, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of people who have taken a lot of this stuff. But the way I put it together, the way I share with a client what I think they should do, it's all coming from intuition.
Yes.
We've lost the power of intuition. Like, we've lost the art of the shaman in our culture.
Yep.
And you have these, like, I'm going to be a little arrogant here, but like, you have these talking heads who have a license in some way or another, and they're just saying, and the studies show that this thing does this and this thing does that. What does that actually give you? Like, what do you actually get from that in terms of your soul, your spirit, your health, your healing? Like, you got to just take the shit.
Yeah.
Take the shit, see how it feels.
Exactly.
Like, every time, even the testing, I've spent like $15,000, $20,000 on testing over the years. And what I realized is, like, whatever I'm thinking about getting tested for, give me the solution to it, And I'm going to tell you if I feel better from the solution, and then I'll know if I had it.
Yeah. It's backwards solving math. Plug in the answer first and see if it works.
Give me the fucking answer first.
Exactly.
Give me the potential answer first. I'll see if it works.
Yep. Exactly.
Right?
And
go ahead.
No, I don't need a doctor to tell me about sulfation and conjugation and phospholipid layers of the cell membrane and detox and all that. It's like, how do I feel better? You know, and you know how to do that. You know how to work people through that. You know, and also, me and you are not the same. You can get in, and that's what a lot of people are making money off of. They're talking MTHFR, they're talking this and that, and like, you are so divinely created. That methylation system they're finding SNPs on are there for a reason. They're usually there in certain patterns for a reason. So people just see MTHFR, and that's the big one. Now they think they know, and they can't detox, and they're so impaired.
Right.
You did not get this far over that. And I could like get into the science on how that's basically BS, and like there's some ways to support it, but we didn't evolve thousands of years to now all of a sudden, oh, well, you have to take a methyl B12 complex to feel normal. It's like, what's clogging that enzymatic function?
Exactly. Why do you have MTHFR? And it's the liver.
Yep.
There's so much to do with the liver. Fatty liver, sluggish liver, toxins in the liver. MTHFR, it's another thing of like, what is the root? And you have to dive deep to find the roots. And the roots, what I've observed in all these years, 10 years of going all in, there's like a core seed. This is what I feel. I'm not saying this is the ultimate truth. There's a core seed in every person of like pain, trauma, pain, multi-generational, multi-lifetime. We'll call it a samskara, which is Sanskrit for wound. Every person, no matter how put together you think they are, they have this core thing. It's just a pain of being a human being. There's something inside that feels like empty, or they even say, right, a God-sized hole in every man. Right. So there's something in every person that being a human is painful in one way or another. And then what you have is all of the toxins, the heavy metals, the additional trauma, all of the shit, and all the stuff that we talk about that comes on top of it and makes it so much worse and exacerbates it, prevents them from feeling their core self. Right? And it just makes it almost impossible to heal when you have, like, go drink ayahuasca when you have severe mercury poisoning. I did it 31 times.
I don't know how you did that.
Right? Yeah. Like, that will disturb you. You will be, why? Because all you're doing is looking at the layer on top of the core essence, like the core pain. And I was in this heavy metal layer, this mercurial layer, which was confusion and chaos. And I thought I was connecting to God and Jesus, but it was just it was demons. It was all demons. And then I started to shed that layer of the toxicity, and I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I'm not in bliss all day, but I feel connected to my soul. I feel the pain has a meaning. The pain has a signal. It's like I'm an awakened individual, and the pain is okay. And it's integrated. Right? And then I started to realize, wow, everything I did before I detoxed was just in this surface layer of torment. And it was all just confusion and games. And as soon as I got shedded the mucoid plaque, the parasites, cleansed my liver, which you still got to do some more of that shit.
Right? I've released some weird stuff, but we got to
get already started getting rid of parasites.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Yeah, and the anxiety you feel before, the depression you feel before, and then and like I'm like, oh, it's just a bad day. It's just a bad day. And then I have to go to the bathroom again, and it feels like everything came out of me. Like I just like hadn't gone to the bathroom in a year, and then there's nothing in the toilet but structures I've never seen before.
Worms, candida.
Yeah, and I have a perfect diet. I've had a perfect diet for 3 years. Nothing's changed in my diet, but out of nowhere, it's just structures. And then an hour later, I'm like giggling. I'm like, what is going on?
It's max neuroses right before the parasites come out.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, we didn't even talk about much on the show here right now, but like, parasites fuck your mind up.
Massively.
And they come in because of the heavy metals. They come in because of the leaky gut, the degradation of the mucous membrane. And they're not, you can, like, people do parasite cleanses, and that's the only thing they do. And they don't, they still get better, but they don't completely change their life. When you put parasite cleansing on top of all the other stuff, it's a game changer.
Yeah. And we know that too. Like, you can look into the science. Everything can be ChatGPT of what you spoke, which is great. You're not trying to like, oh yeah, and this guy said this and to prove it. No, there's root, like toxoplasmosis in cats will get in your brain and literally alter your behavior. So you know for a fact that you can get a pathogenic invasion into your brain.
And what you end up doing more risky behaviors, right? Don't they like ride motorcycles faster?
Yeah, you're more into risk, and then you're also, I think women are more sexually promiscuous. So she's got a cat. Yeah, but no, it's actually,
and that's the smallest of, in my opinion, that's literally like everyone has that. If you have a cat, you have that.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's like probably 1% of what people get. Between the Giardia, the ropeworms, the roundworms, the tapeworms, all of the microscopic organisms that alter your chemistry and alter your brain, like most people are, I think, are a slave to their demons and their parasites.
Exactly, without a doubt, without a doubt. So yeah, it's front to back. We haven't gone to liver flushing, like you said. We've only started 4 months in.
Yeah,
I'm a brand new man, deeper, and it is that connection to source. And it's not to sound woo-woo. It's something, though, you will understand. Like, you have your true self, your authentic self, and it's hard to be that when you feel bad all the time. Your body is, and they have terms for it now, cell danger response, CDR, and they're discovering that, like, oh, it does turn on, and your ATP lowers. And that's why I think, like, my whole life now makes sense. Why I was so sick, why I was the runt, why I wasn't athletic, why they said I had ADHD, why I have a lazy eye, why... Everything makes sense now, because when you look at it through the lens of toxins, it was the answer to every question I ever had. And when I solved for it too, it worked. That was the difference. Is the before.
And it worked fast.
Fast, thankfully. I was ready, but thankfully, yeah.
So who do you think, like, someone's watching this, they've considered our services, they've considered doing detox, like, should they do it? Who should do this? Why should they be a believer?
Yeah, I mean, it's so simple. Like, if you didn't clean out your car's engine, you didn't do oil changes, and you were putting cruddy oil in, do you think your car would run better without it? And it's one of those things I just encourage you to try and see. I think it's going to be very mainstream. It's the next viral thing. It's going to be detox. Yeah. RFK is talking about, what's in the water, about microplastic. Well, what's next? The question will evolve. And
we'll have pop-up clinics everywhere.
Exactly.
Like detox clinics everywhere you go.
Exactly.
In 20 years.
Yeah, but without a doubt, I mean, if you just want to take my word for it, do it. It's do it and see. But I promise you, it's not bad. It's not like you're opening a door like, oh, I got a maintenance or anything like that. No, it's a fun short sprint where you're locked in, and then you just maintain like the basics. And I feel like we come in contact with 700,000 toxins a week. We think our livers are burdened, our lymphatic systems are burdened, our gallbladders are burdened, bile is toxic now. You just do that short sprint, you feel so good, and then another thing that was validity was being with you this week, and you're resilient. It's not like you're like, I can't eat that. Like, you're eating food, you're doing everything. You're out there, we're walking around in the middle of the night. You were talking about how you went to Italy, you could have wine. You're not like, you don't put yourself in this box where you can't live. It's the thing that you do to remove the anchor so that you can have that freedom to live. Because what do you want? Like, most people don't want to feel perfect. They just want resilience. Yes. That's what they really, really want, is to be resilient to the alcohol, to be resilient to the bad food, be resilient to the sickness. And I think detox is the final thing you can cut that chain with to get that resilience.
100%. I think that's also a difference between me and a lot of practitioners out there who isolate themselves in a bubble in order to remain healthy. And like, even they go on one international trip and they're like, oh, it fucked me up. And I traveled for fucking 6 months. In the last 14 months, I've been gone for 6 months overseas. You saw me eating last night. I was eating pastries and French fries and like,
I wasn't going to out you.
You could tell them. Like, I eat a lot of, I mean, it's all organic and it's gluten. I don't do gluten. Gluten is the only thing I cannot tolerate. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
But other than that, like, I am having fun and I am living. And then you also saw at Spirit of a Man, like, I was bringing like deep performances, deep spaces, and like sustaining them for the entire time. Right?
Exactly.
And like going through people's shit.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm like sitting above saying like, you guys should go do this. Like, I'm in the shit with you.
Yeah.
I'm in the emotional shit. And I'm not afraid of it. So I'm not here just trying to feel good every day. Like, yes, feeling good is great, but this is a path of truth and resilience. When you detox, yes, you feel good, but you realize like that's not the ultimate goal of life, is to feel good. Then you're on the surface.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you're on the surface if everything is about feeling good every day.
Yep.
There's so much. If life is about feeling good, why would you ever have a fucking child? Having a child is the most miserable fucking experience.
Yes.
So I just think there's a lot of depth to life, and feeling good all the time as the North Star is very, very limiting.
Exactly. And I won't get too deep into it, but I think that's what people chase when they go do the ayahuasca in the jungle, and then they come back, they leave their job, they leave their relationship, they get into polyamory, they're chasing more drugs, they're chasing that high because they don't want the human experience, they just want to feel good all the time.
Yes.
But the beautiful thing is I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, so that heartbreak, that losing the job, the maybe not getting to my goals but chasing it, those are all part of the thing. And that's what made me me. So that's what I want. I want that resilience to go after what I want. I want that long-term relationship. I want that business where I put every part of myself. I want to be a UFC world champion, chase it, got a belt. Like, I'm living that way.
I don't want a full life.
Yes, exactly. The ups and the downs, they're breaking you, and you're like chasing just the good feelings, probably because you don't feel good at your core anyways, and you're hovering above that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
All right, so I got maybe one or two more questions for you. All right, so why do you think, and this is going to sound weird because I'm asking you, but why do you think Josh and John, myself and John, why do you think we're good coaches? Why do you think we're worth the investment?
Yeah.
Why, if someone is doubting us or someone is like been on the fence for the last 5 years watching our content, what makes us good coaches?
The anecdotes, go look at the reviews. Go look at all the people
Yeah.
who trust you. I mean, like, that's the easiest way is social proof, because we know now not to trust authority. So people aren't going to listen to what I say because
Right.
I have a platform. So you have to look at what everyone else is doing. That's what did it for me. But working with you guys personally, you bring that art, and John brings kind of that science. It's almost it's a good cop, but a good cop, bad cop. Like, you guys are so different. But like, so like John comes from military, so structured, he's so formal. Yeah. He's very like in it like there, and you're like, you know, you come from the jungle of the Amazons, you know, fighting, and that's where I relate. And like, you come out with that wild spirit and stuff, but what you guys do, you have the validity, you have the proof, you do have the research, you don't even tell it.
I don't even talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. But you guys have all that, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why I think you and John are like the combo, and the whole team too. And that's why I posted today, you guys are hiring. I posted that today because I believe in your culture and your team. I stayed in San Diego an extra week just to hang out with you guys. Like, but the energy is contagious, and you can't have that. You can tell when someone's sick, they're on SSRI, they have the SSRIs, they look droopy, they're disconnected, they're on Ativan, whatever. It's like the nasty film when I'm around you people. Meeting John in Vegas too is the best thing, because you see how clean he is. When I met you the first time, I said, okay, like I'm constantly, I'm gauging, I'm skeptic.
Of course.
Yeah, I want to see, my life's on the line.
Yes.
I'm not going to just trust you. And I meet you guys, I'm like, you feel it. They're clean. You guys feel good. John's got clear face. Your baby, the most bright, smiling, beautiful baby. I think that's your biggest validity factor right there, is your baby. Right. That blew me away. The spirit, the soul in that kid, the energy, the eye contact. You could see the consciousness behind him. It wasn't like a baby. I was like, oh, you'll have consciousness in 6 years. You know, no, that was like, that baby's got
already.
Spirit. Right. Yeah. What happens when your parents detox? Like I said, you get what your mother had, you know.
Wow.
Big time.
Hell yeah, man. So let me see if there's any other questions.
I'm passionate right now.
Dude, it's beautiful.
But it's the truth. It's my truth.
Let's talk for 3 minutes on Spirit of a Man, and we'll wrap it up. So I wanted to personally, because I know they filmed you at the retreat, but I wanted to personally get like your feelings and your download in this fashion about Spirit of a Man. Like what was special about that? What did you get from that? And how was that for you?
It was life-changing. It was deep, and not to be dramatic. And everyone who asked me on the phone was like, it's not to be dramatic, but it changed my life, you know, because they expect to hear that. And it's, but you don't approach it. The way you approach it is right up my alley. I want to take the long road up the mountain. I don't want to take the ski lift, because you can't integrate unless you feel that pain. You know, you go through it. So it's deep work. But the way you facilitate it is, one, it's fun. The food's amazing. The group's amazing. Everything was amazing. But when it was time to work, everybody got in there and we worked. And what we're doing is we're going internal. What I got was more of what people were going through than my own internal voice. I'm very introspective, and I'm always working on myself, and I just got out of a bad time, so I'm very aware of what I'm working on. But then seeing everyone else go through their past, their traumas, whatever it is, and then you not going love and light, you integrating the primal sense and giving them that passion, that voice. And it's like, even anger can raise your vibration in certain circumstances. You know, when someone's so frail and they just need that scream, that roar to feel like that they are capable as a man, that's what men need sometimes. So the way you guys approached it was just fascinating. Mm-hmm. The container of just being disconnected, and you teaching, and because you think people say, get grounded, and you think like barefoot on the grass, take a moment for yourself. No, you teach like true being grounded, the astral, the etheric you speak about. I won't even get deep into it, but I thought I knew it all. And I went in there just kind of like, honestly, I went there because
I told you to come.
You took care of me. I was like, let's just see what happens. And I was not expecting what I got out of it. And there's so much truth behind so much of that stuff. Wow. And it blew my mind, changed me forever. And like, I mean, I'm sure Aaron, my videographer here, has noticed the difference, but the morning routine's a little different. I'm a little more plugged in. And I think the proof and the validity was this week when we got out, how much work I got done. It was so easy because I was so focused. You just took the background noise away. And I'm so connected to like me, my source, my truth, and like the pains that I might have internally. I can not combat them, but like you're aware of them, you dance with them, and then you know how to get back to who you are. You don't act out a certain way because of that pain too. And I won't get too deep into everything, but it was amazing.
What do you feel like from that, in that dojo, the work that we do? It's so hard to market that. Yeah. It's so hard to explain what we do.
You have to experience it.
You have to experience it.
Yeah, it's like me trying to tell you what a mushroom trip would be like. Right. No one knows until you do it.
Exactly. How would you how would you even try to share what we're doing in there?
It was the most psychedelic experience I've had sober. That by far was the most psychedelic experience I've ever had sober. Where you have those downloads, those connections to source, and like you understand, like, whoa, this is the truth. It was there this whole time, but you unlock it. Because that's what everything is. Every thought you ever have which changed your life is just an unlock that was already there. And that was like the best way to facilitate that unlock. And it just made me realize, like, wow, you were like one thought away from success or being who you really want to be. But you just need the right container. And that's what that container is. Wow. And it taught me how to read energies like crazy. Not like energies, but
no, but you're still, I can feel you're way more in tune with people's intentions now.
Intentions, what's really going on? Are they being honest? You can just pick up on it now, because once you know your own truth and you're honest with yourself and you attack that, you can see it in others so easy. You're like, oh man, he's kind of nervous to be here. He doesn't like being judged. He's so scared of it, because deep down, and you start working on that. But it's not just therapy where you talk about it. It's move it. What's primal,
Totally.
And we're wired a certain way, and like men are wired for certain things. Like obviously we didn't get violent, but I'm saying like there's certain things men do that like you can argue with and say it's not the right way, but it is the way. We evolved that way, and you have to respect that.
Totally.
You go away from nature. Every time we go away from nature, we get hammered. Yeah.
Beautiful. Do you have any questions? Anything you want to add?
No, I wasn't ready for that.
Have you noticed a difference in Spirit of a Man?
With you, yeah. Yesterday I told you too, like one of the first things I noticed was like, bro, you look like more peeled, like tight. You're like jumping around, like all energetic and all that,
Moving
in your body. I think you're more in your body for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't train. I couldn't do anything. I got skinny fat when this all happened. I was like, I've had an 8-pack for 10 years, a decade, And I'm like, I have love handles all of a sudden. And then now the body's kind of settling. But yeah, it's just something you feel. And like we could say it's woo-woo, but people carry energies.
Oh yeah.
When someone walks in a room, they're vibrant. Everyone looks at them, And I know when I'm on, I could never quantify it. This gave me a chance to quantify. Because I didn't know when I was up or down or astral, etheric, all these things. And the second now I tuned in and you taught me that, and I walk into somewhere, I catch people looking at me. I feel that vibration. People listen to me when I'm speaking all the time. And it's just different. You carry a weight, and it's like you're deep in your core.
Exactly. Exactly. Beautiful. All right. Well, dude.
My brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Big time.
That was awesome.